Just picking up on that last question from Neil. When we look at what's been happening with this hike, we had the pass in April, and then we've had a May and June increase. You sort of relayed the message in April that you wanted to slow down the pace of rate hikes, and that was sort of well accepted by the market. And now we've gone back to an accelerated path of rate hikes. Is that, putting together what you've been telling us today and in the releases, is that because you've become more concerned about the wage measures? You've put a lot of emphasis on unit labour costs running at 7%, which is now in line with service inflation, so it looks a lot more like the rest of the world. So we're starting to look at least concerned about looking like the rest of the world. And is it also the case that the board is less tolerant of any slippage on getting back to 3.5% or 3%? So 3% by mid-25 was the forecast. Is the board now less tolerant of taking that risk of taking so long compared to what's happening in the rest of the world?
But there hasn't been any shift in our tolerance. We want to get inflation back to target within a couple of years, and that hasn't changed. What has changed over the past couple of months is our assessment of the risks. And it's not just the wages data. The inflation read for April was higher than expected. We've seen housing prices rising again when we thought they'd still be falling. And when we look overseas, we see a lot of persistence in services price inflation, largely again because unit labour costs are rising quickly. And there's been a lot of a strong correlation between inflation developments abroad and what happens in Australia. So upside surprises on inflation, upside surprises on wages, upside surprises on housing prices, upside surprises on inflation overseas. We felt like we couldn't just sit idly and say, well, this is just all accidental, it's all just noise. The conclusion we reached was that this represents upside risk to the inflation outlook in Australia. We have been prepared to be patient in getting inflation back to target, but our patience has a limit, and the risks are starting to test that limit. So we thought we needed to respond after holding steady in April.